Good morning, my friends. Wiggle here. Today I'm going to show you efficient ways of moving mulch wood chips, how to use them, kind of why to use them, and I'm also going to show you my tomatoes that were untended, that were planted late and left out here basically in a compost bed just to fend for themselves among the weeds and everything. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing with that. My three sisters got wiped out, so we're going to see if we can get any beans to keep growing, and a few squash are left that are still green vine, still look like they might grow or sweeten up a little. So I'm going to give it just a little bit and see if anything can be salvaged before I move onward from that. So Cal's got most of it. And they also stomp through this patch. Cows will eat pepper plants. There's my peppers. So I'm moving this, I finally got some loads of chips, so I'm moving them in here. And I'm trying to leverage them as much as I can. So this was all just laying on the ground. Let me show you over here. Kind of just like this. And I just kind of bunched them up as much as I can into a row, because they were planted in a row, so I bunched them up as much as I could. The idea was to get them to grow over to the fence to the left, and to the right I just put these cattle panels in, just T-post 16-foot centers. So they're just they're not super sturdy, but they'll do the job. And it is late or mid-September, so we're just trying to get another 4 to 6 weeks of harvest. So hopefully these tomatoes will kick in and give me a good harvest at the end, because we really haven't been doing much with them. So I've mulched in along the fence. I pushed the tomatoes back, mulched in along the fence. And that's kind of the idea of what I'm trying to accomplish here, is using that rubber grape twine to tie them up. I'm just getting them up off the ground. That way the varmints will quit eating them. Or I just lean them that way. And you can see from this vine how far it had to go. So I guess I'll pick that one there. Not going to do any good anyway. Now we'll leave it. So I'm only harvesting the good tomatoes. I'm going to bury the rest and just have that seed underground and see what comes up volunteer next year. So I'm going to finish mulching in. Well, that's pretty much mulched. So I'll move all of the tomatoes over and tie them up. Then I'll just let them droop back down over. So that gives your vines, a good, all that added up, 4 feet, 4 feet, another 4 feet. It's 12 feet of vine. 10 to 14 maybe, just depending. But that's a good amount for that vine to just grow. And I haven't done any suckers or anything like that. I just let it just grow, completely untended. So whatever we get is a bonus. This is the only tending I'm doing. So when I bring my wheelbarrows, I just stump like a quarter to a third of a wheelbarrow. I kind of try to judge what I need. Back up, dump, back up, dump. That way you're not having to rake and move so much material. You're using the wheelbarrow to move your material. That is the key. Put it where you want it. That way you don't spend all that time pushing it around. Even though this is not heavy, it's easy to move, but still, the principle is just to put it right where you want it and use it there. So that has not been spread yet. That's kind of what I anticipated I needed. And I'm also on these holes, like right there where there's no tomato. If I can't spread the vines out, which I'm going to try, but I'm going to go ahead and put more dirt in, topsoil, compost, finished compost, or mostly finished compost, to grow. I'm going to put whatever in. I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to put stuff in all the holes for the fall crops to get it going. So like this, here's a hole here, there's a hole there. I'll get that in. I'm also I'll get my pathway of chips here, but you see how much more room I have, and that is weedy. But I'm going to leave all that. That's all free nitrogen. That's all just the spiny amaranth and the stuff that I pulled out. I tried to pull most of the big grass clumps out. So I'm going to bury that, but that's going to get buried. You can kind of see where it needs to be a row here. So I'm going to put black dirt in there and go ahead and plant in it. And I am just kind of bury back the vines, the tomato vines. I'm even going to bury some of the old tomatoes. If they're damaged or whatever, I just left them for now. So we don't need a whole ton of harvesting, so I'm just going to bury them and let them either be seed for next year or let them be just, you know, for the dirt. So there's that. Now, if you front end loader is probably the most important thing to have on a homestead if you're trying to do any growing on scale. If you're having to amend dirt, you need cows and you need a bucket. That is my opinion. And I know you say it's out of reach. Well, I bought this thing for $6,500. And it runs like a champ. And it's half a backhoe. It's missing the backhoe, but it's got the loader on it. And it's old, but it runs like, I mean, it's a bargain. I bought it from an old Kubota dealer. They were using it as a boom loader. So a bucket is really going to help you build the soil quickly. I can't think of a more important tool. It's basically a big shovel. So take it or leave it. That's where I'm at. I've tried to use a little Harbor Freight trencher all these years. It's just too slow and inefficient. Hard to beat a bucket. Hard to beat a cow, hard to beat hay, and it's hard to beat wood chips. Now I do want to mention that wood chips are better than hay for mulching. The problem with my hay is that, or my spent hay, is it just composts so quickly. It just goes down, it doesn't hold, and then it's letting weeds in. At least wood chips last a little longer. They go away pretty quickly as it is, but they last a lot longer than hay. Now I like hay, it's just more work, more time, and it's not quite as nice. Wood chips just lay right in there, and you can put them wherever you want, and they're done. Super easy, super quick. So, but when I run out of wood chips, I haven't had wood chips for a year, and now I've gotten like 4 or 5 loads, 4 loads I think. And man, I'm loving it. I love getting wood chips. Get them if you can. They're a great way to build soil. They are nitrogen deficient mostly. If there's a lot of green leaves and twigs and still in growth season, there is more nitrogen in wood chips this time of year. In the fall, man, it's really green deficient. So you're going to need something else, or you're going to just have to give it time for those wood chips to mellow out. The rain will eventually bring enough nitrogen to mellow it out, but it might take years. So, and then all the bugs and everything, everybody's working to kind of bring everything to neutral. That's the natural state. So at any rate, I digress. I have 3 wheelbarrows, and I try to fill them as best I can with the bucket. And one key, and I mean, it's so obvious, but you may not think about it. Like my boys out here helping me, I mean, put the wheelbarrow right where you want it so you don't have to move it so much. Every foot you save saves time and energy, helps get you through the day, and helps you get more done. Efficiency is the key, and not the amount of time, it's the amount of work. How efficient can you be? So always be thinking of efficiencies. So these wheelbarrows are right where I want them. I can fill them, turn. They're on a good flat spot so they won't tip over on me. So I can dump my load in the wheelbarrow as best I can, and then I can just turn and get it right where I want it, and then, so I can get a lot done this way. It's saving all that raking and scooping and all that. So always consider the fewest steps possible, the least energy. It's hard enough work, so just get as much for your effort as possible. So I think I'm at an end for now. I will update you when I get this all done. I have other things I'm doing today, but this is just salvaging the neglected tomatoes and moving wood chips.